What is going on, folks? It sometimes takes a second for this to actually turn on, so I'm just going to stand here and look at. Okay, it's probably on by now. So there it is.
There we are. We're live.
We're live. We're live.
It's all happening. It's all what is happening now is happening now.
Yeah, now I'm hearing myself like 4 times. Oh, there it is. I found the rogue window that had it open. So, hey, folks, it is Disney Dan here hanging out with my very, very good buddy, Nate. He doesn't have like a fun, he's a nifty Nate, I guess. I don't have any kind of alliteration for him. So, hey.
Nifty. We can go with nifty Nate for right now until we come up with something better.
Nate is my cohort, probably the best friend, my older brother, more or less, but not really because we have different last names. But he is a puppeteer extraordinaire, and he has worked with me for a long time on a bunch of fun puppet stuff. And he's also the co-host of our puppet podcast that we do called Getting Felt Up, a puppetry podcast with Dan and Nate. So what's going on, Nate?
We're puppet podcast partners in crime. That's what we are.
Yeah, we sure are. So what's happening? What's going on down there in beautiful, sunny Florida? Yeah,
the Sunshine State is it's pouring rain right now. It's storming. Okay. I think we're getting a little bit of the excess, the outside. I guess what do they call it? I think they call them like feeder bands or something from Gaston. Appropriately titled.
Is that the hurricane's name right now? Is Gaston?
Is it? It's either yes, it is named Gaston, and it's either Tropical Storm Gaston or it's Hurricane Gaston right now. I don't know if it's at a hurricane yet, but it's supposed to be soon. If it isn't already,
that's incredible.
But you can imagine the amount of puns that are.
Be our guest.
But a lot of like, no one blows like Gaston, has strong winds like Gaston, things like that.
That's incredible. I absolutely love it. That's so cool.
A lot of Gaston puns for the storm for sure.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we have I'm going to be heading down there in it's less than 2 weeks, and we're looking at the rain, like the forecast, and it's like rain. But I'm like, it's all like low, it's like scattered thunderstorms because like this time of year, the rain, it like pours for like half an hour and then it's gone again, and then it might.
Yep. It's the typical Florida weather. It's bright and shiny sun, and then all of a sudden pouring sheets of rain, and then it's gone. And as you're driving down the roads in Florida, you'll see the sheet. It's like a curtain, just like a gray curtain right in front of you. It's like entering Toontown. Awesome. And Roger Rabbit is what I agree to. You're like, oh, here we go. And then you're in it, and then you're out of it. Then
you're out of it. So, dude, let's talk about these 2 new rides that are down at Disney World. Soarin's been open for a little bit now, right? They retweaked it. When did it open? How long ago did Soarin open up?
I want to say the new Soarin opened in June. Sometime in June, mid-June, I would.
Okay, so it's been the summer, and then Frozen opened like a month and a half ago, right?
Yes.
Has Frozen fever in Norway died down yet, or because it's summer, it's busy, it's just crazy there, no matter what?
It's pretty much crazy there, no matter what. Norway is packed to the gills with Frozen fever for sure.
So what the Frozen Norway section, it's pretty much taken over, and then they've kind of expanded. I know that like now there's about like an extra 45-60 seconds added to the intro of the ride before it gets into like the old track layout kind of thing. But what's it like there now in that area? I mean, I imagine there's still the Norway gift shop.
There is, yeah. They've definitely, yeah. So the ride still spills out through the Norway gift shop, which is predominantly Frozen themed swag in there. There's still a little they still have kept a small contingent of your traditional Norway stuff, like the old trolls and stuff like that, and some like Swedish candies. You can still get Swedish fish there and things like that, and some of their jackets and sweaters and things.
Yeah, is North Face is a Norwegian company or something? There's like one of those like North Face kind of companies there that like is
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's North Face. I think North Face is an American.
Like it's the last place you want to go to buy like hiking gear is the Norway section of Epcot, but that's like pretty much like you go there and you're like you could buy like jackets to like traverse the mountains and stuff. So
yeah, it's 108 degrees heat index there in Disney World, and then you walk in there and there's like, oh, this is like thick goose down jackets to wear. So I don't know.
So tell me about the queue. Like, what's the queue like there at the ride?
So if you remember the old, like I was a massive fan of Maelstrom, and I was actually quite saddened when I was not surprised, but I was still saddened that they were getting rid of Maelstrom and making way for a Frozen themed ride. It's no one's surprise, I'm sure.
No.
But it's really, I will say, out of all of the newer rides that have come out, it's super, super well done. And it's so different enough, even though they've predominantly kept the same boat track that you would go through the old Maelstrom ride. It's so different that I even couldn't remember. Like I was trying to be like really do some Total Recall and trying to be like, oh, well, this is the part where you would go around the big oil rig at the end. Like this must be the oil rig room.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Like
for those who don't are unaware, if you Google it, if you like go on YouTube and search for it, there's a great side-by-side video actually that someone put together.
Oh, really?
Of Frozen ride and Maelstrom. And so like the opening of Frozen, there's about 45 to 60 seconds of new material, of like new track that you can't really side-by-side compare it. But then right beyond like Olaf, as you're heading up the track up into up towards the Frozen castle, that's like when the new ride and the old ride kind of, you can start to side by side them. So definitely search that on YouTube because it's a really cool. I'm such a sucker. I love watching rides on YouTube. So
and I will say, you mentioned Olaf. The animatronic Olaf in that ride is nothing short of spectacular. He's so good. It looks. You can see it on the ride, but when you first walk in, you get introduced to Olaf and Sven are sitting out there, and they're both animatronics. But Olaf is literally moving all over the place. Like he's not just in one spot being very articulate. He's literally like skating, like ice skating.
He's got like the wobble. Yeah, I know that like there's well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. What's the queue theme? Because I always love like theme park ride queue and how they theme it up. So is there anything?
So I didn't stay through. I didn't go. I was lucky enough to snag a fast pass, so I kind of like cruised right through it. So I didn't experience the full start to finish standby line queue. But when you get into the main room where both lines kind of merge, it's like at night. It's like at nighttime. You're out in the market area of Arendelle, I would say.
Most of the clips don't really show the queue, but from what I did see, it's like you see like the Wandering Oaken trading post, and I think there's like an interactive screen where like it's like the steam room, and he like wipes off the steam. He's like, whoo hoo.
That's funny. That part I didn't see, so that must be like earlier on in the standby line. That part I didn't get a chance to see. But that's awesome.
You've got to being Disney with these big ticket rides now, with these big e-ticket attractions. You've got to like, and I think that Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey really set the standard for being like, here's the queue for a ride, and the queue itself is a ride. Like, the queue itself is going to entertain you for the 3 hours you're.
And that was actually the smartest thing that they could have done. They've done that for for a lot of the other rides, if not most of them. For Haunted Mansion, they expanded that queue and made it interactive. Oh my gosh,
the Haunted Mansion queue is one of the best. It's so cool. Like that big mausoleum that you can like touch all the metal parts and like interact with it and stuff.
Yeah. You wake up like there's like a ghost in there, and you can yell at him and wake him up, and he's like, oh, oh. And then there's the lady taking a bath, and she squirts water at you, and it's definitely super interactive. And Winnie the Pooh, which is also a ride that is always tremendously long line. They totally did a lot of interactive, touch screen of like honey dripping, and you can like draw in the honey and things like that. And
Space Mountain did it too with that game. Like halfway, like
I feel like they did that. Space Mountain might have been one of the first ones. They did that a while ago. Is finally, because God, that line, you would be
tremendous. It could be
so long. Like when you walk through and it says, "Oh, there's only a 10-minute wait," it's because it takes you 10 minutes to literally get to the ride from the entrance, just walking straight through.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember vividly waiting in line in Space Mountain, and it's so dark, and it's nice and cold, and it's got that weird pew, pew,
and all those
moody
like, weird,
space music, and
those weird 3D like Spaceman, or like, you know what I mean?
Oh
like,
man,
those, like,
just getting nauseous when you walk past those things, and if you watch them and they go, I remember getting nauseous. But you know what is spoilers? I think there's like there's that one of my favorite little ones that looks like the Satellite of Love from Mystery Science Theater.
Oh
Did you know
yeah,
that?
that's right.
There's like it's
so
on one of the
cool.
turns, and it's right there at the bottom, and it's all by himself, and it just sits there. It totally looks like a Satellite
Dude,
of
take
Love.
the whole week off when I'm down there on vacation and just come hang out with
I will
me
try.
the whole
I
week.
don't know if you see the shirt that I'm wearing.
There it is. There's the shirt. We'll soon be getting all the cool swag from supporting the Kickstarter. I'm excited. Don't know when it's going to happen, but it's coming soon.
Yeah,
so
Mystery Science Theater fans, guys. But yeah, the queue lines they've definitely, because you can't. I mean, there's not much you can do about it. The lines are going to get long, especially during super hardcore peak times. People are going to wait in line to ride these rides, and the lines are going to get long. So the smartest thing they could have done, they can't like really make the lines longer. So there's only so much real estate left to do that, especially for rides that are already constructed.
Yeah.
So augment the wait time and give something to distract them for at least the hour plus wait that they have to do. So the little video game in Space Mountain is super cool, and I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, but
so anyway, so you get on the ride and you head in, and you're like it's like nighttime in Arendelle, right?
Yes.
And the first thing you are confronted with is Olaf, and I think is Sven up on the hill with him too. I think
he is. Yeah,
Sven's up there. But I mean, it's really brilliant the way that they design these rides, because you get a little they're little vignettes that play as the boat passes and continues the story. But Olaf comes to life, and he's like walking around up there. It's amazing. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the movement on him is just stunning. It really is. It's very impressive.
Yeah, and then after that, they head their way over to the trolls, and the trolls are telling a story, and he's kind of got like magic up in the air, and he's got like
it's like the little baby trolls are like, tell us the story again, tell us again.
Yeah.
They use a really good the ride is something that Disney's been doing the last few years is for the animatronics. They're not really putting too much work into the face because they're projecting the facial expressions,
which I am so disappointed with.
Really?
I despise the projected faces so much. I really do.
Why is that?
They just don't. Seven Dwarf Mine does that. Frozen does it. I'm on the fence with it because it's not too heavily done in the Cars ride out in Disneyland. But it just takes away from me. They didn't do any of that in like the Ariel ride and the Little Mermaid ride, and it looks phenomenal because you've got these beautifully crafted animatronic pieces, and it's not just Ariel's face projected on like a textured like dummy head, which I don't know. But I mean, I guess for kids, they're just like, whoa, that's so crazy! I can't believe it. It's there's Anna, there's Elsa, that kind of stuff. So
it definitely gives them a little more freedom to change it, I think, too, and like if they need to change the dialogue or whatever face,
I'm sure,
and things like that. I think it gives them that little freedom and a little bit more expression, a little more realistic looking expression. Depends on how well it's projected. I will say that one of the moments in Frozen, you can really see like, wow, their face is a completely different, because a lot of it's blacklight too, like because it's dark, and so a lot of it's lit with blacklight, and
I think that's what really takes it out of it for me, because even you have to Disney is we're not making anything. Disney's a master at this kind of stuff. It's not like they look horrible, but there is that line that is hard to. I don't think that projection faces are there yet. I think they'll have to do something more with them over the course of years. I'm interested to see how they'll develop, but for the time, it's not for me. So. But so then you head up like the long incline, right, towards the Elsa's Frozen Castle is the next section of the ride, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly
because that's when the Maelstrom like old track picks up, because then you start to incline up the hill towards, and that's where, like in Maelstrom, it was like that spinning light that was like shining down in your face. The whole time. And then then you get up there, and then you get to see all the characters, and this is where the ice skating Olaf is, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and he goes like the whole, like a really good distance. It's so smooth. Obviously it's brand new, but he's not rickety at all. He even kind of jumps a little bit. It's really
Yeah, it's really incredible. I mean, I'm still more impressed by the Disney's Cars ride. This doesn't. I mean, this is really cool, but this hasn't impressed me beyond what they did with Cars. But still, very cool.
Well, I think they had this. This is the area and what they had to work with and what they could do with it in this ride that already pre-existed. Cars Land, they just got to build. Pretty much got to build it from scratch, so they got to expand their. Use.
And then after this, you've got then Anna and Sven singing like a version of like remixed versions of the songs, because they don't take, because this clearly this ride takes place after the Frozen movie. You know what I mean? It's like
it's like a retelling. It's basically like a retelling of the story again for like the kids, is what it seems like. It seems like the troll grandfather is like, "Oh, right, this is how it happened," and and then it. Yeah, so it does both tales, both the Frozen movie and then into Frozen Fever, the short that preceded.
Oh yeah, because you've got all those like baby Olafs in there. So
the little snow cold demons there, the little the ones that she sneezes and they appear and take over. Yeah.
And then after that, we've got Sven, of course, with this tongue like stuck to the pole and stuff like that. But then it moves into the climax of the ride where you've got Elsa singing and rocking out, and then you like I think it's really cool.
That's the famous when the boat goes backwards part.
Yeah. And how's her animatronic like in real life? Does it look cool?
It does, yeah. I mean, all of the animatronics that they added there, they're so fluid. They move brilliantly. Again, with the projected faces, but the sound is really great in there, and especially at that moment too, they're combining a lot of elements with animation and light effects, and there's some like smoke / fog or steam type of effects for the ice, and it all kind of the animation on the screens. So it's very similar. We were talking briefly on our show about when we talked to Pirate Steven about the Mystic Manor ride. So it has elements of that. Everything that we kind of loved about that. It was a combination of animatronics and lighting effects and animation projected kind of in tandem. And that really takes place a lot in that particular area where she does the whole Let It Go.
Yeah, because the walls all start to like light up and go absolutely nuts, which I think is I think that's really cool. That all that, and she and of course and that's the real song. That's the Let It Go song. So they kind of like nail it with that. We've got people in the chat asking who you are, who's Nate, and
who is this strange man?
Nate's a puppeteer who a good buddy of mine and voiceover artist and all kinds of awesomeness. But and then you roll back and then you see Snowball, right? The big Marshmallow. Is that Marshmallow?
I never remember his name. It might be Marshmallow.
Is it Marshmallow or Snowball? Does anyone know what his name is?
What is the big snowman's name?
I think it's Marshmallow. I can't remember.
When did they name him? Did they name him that in the Frozen Fever one?
I think he was like just named.
They just credited him as Marshmallow.
I don't know. I honestly have no idea. So I'm sure that we could.
And then he says something. I'm free, and that's when you descend into like the bigger dip, the bigger.
And which I don't understand the whole "I'm free" thing. Maybe that's a Frozen Fever thing.
It must be. But that's the part that I remember in the old Maelstrom ride is when you'd back up and then you would look like you were gonna go out. Like you looked like you were gonna go out the cave. Yeah, do you remember?
Yeah, you're about to
then the big troll. The big troll dude was there, and he was like, "Rah!" I forget what the troll dude did, but then you were like ran away from.
Yeah, he popped up. Hi, Infinity TV. Yes, I am watching the chat and I am responding to people. So I don't have I'm not paying somebody to do this for me.
I don't
know what kind of operation you think that I'm currently running, but I'm just trying to have some fun chats about. And so is the like the obnoxious Norway like movie still there?
You know what? I don't know.
Or did you just walk right through it?
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So
And
it
so
might
what?
still be there.
So that's pretty rad. And so the Soarin ride. Now, what did they tweak? What did
Oh,
they?
Soren. Okay, I gotta come out. I just gotta come out and say it. Be honest with you, I don't like the Soren ride. I never
You know,
liked the original Soren ride, and it just as the years went on with it, I'm a former projectionist, as you know, and so that the old ride, the old 3D, not 3D, the old IMAX, it was film. It was an old IMAX film, and they
yeah,
just did not take care of it.
never
And it
cleaned the
just
film.
looked like garbage, and it drove me nuts. It was out of focus, and it would flicker, and it was a hot mess, and it just took me out of the whole stupid thing. And it never like everybody's like, "Oh, I smell oranges." I never smelled oranges. My orange machine never worked. I don't know. It could be a combination of elements, but I just never I was like, I cannot believe people were waiting 2 hours to fake hang glide on this terrible ride. I just can't say it. Patrick Warburton's hilarious in the beginning, and that's about it.
That's about it. Yeah, I know the ride certainly isn't for everybody. Now, is it?
So, but originally, I guess it was just like it was flying over California soaring. It was just like all over California, I believe, was the whole situation. Now it's soaring over the world, and it goes. So I will say this: it's the video is digital now, which is great. So the video looks great. And now you kind of jump into different areas pretty quick, and they have these random. And remember the old one, you would fly, and then all of a sudden cut to another thing. Oh, now I'm flying over somewhere else. Oh, now I'm flying over somewhere else. Oh, no. So now it's not really like that. They kind of do these weird transitions that some of them kind of startle you, and something like, oh, there's an eagle, and it's flying on my face. Oh, and now we're in another place. Now we're flying over.
Did they 3D it or?
No, it's not 3D. It's not 3D. It's still just the big rounded IMAX.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, you're just flying over all of very famous places in the world. All over the globe is the theme now, and then you end spoilers at flying over Epcot.
Oh, so you fly over the park?
Yes, at the end, and I believe, and when you ride it in Disneyland, you fly over Disneyland.
Yeah, each one has its own button.
Yeah, wherever it is at that you're riding it. I will say, so it's digital, so so my previous gripes about the film are null and void now, but it's so digital that you can tell, like, you're flying over the Serengeti or whatever, and you're like, oh man, those are the fakest elephants I've ever seen. I am flying over some digi elephants, and then like flying over people in rowboats and stuff somewhere. I want to say probably when you're flying over, I can't remember if you fly over Sydney or not.
So they've gone in and punched it up with some digital effects
with like little fake digital people scattered about.
That's a bummer.
And we're like, oh man, it's so bad. The other issue I would say is I wrote it by myself. I did they don't really have a single writer, but I was like, no, just one. I'm like, okay. So they snuck me in there, and I ended up being on the very, very far right of the theater. So like the very bottom row and the very far right. Now, when you are
not the most opportune,
I will tell you, when you're on that part of the ride and you see nothing but feet in front of your face, kind of distracts you from it. And because of the screen is so curved, every time you go over something that's long, it starts to go. So like there's a moment where you scale up the Eiffel Tower, and you're coming at it, and all of a sudden I was like,
sideways.
The Eiffel Tower got some serious English on it when I was climbing up it. So that made me laugh though, because it was everything was like.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I can't remember what movie I just saw recently. It might have been The Jungle Book or something. I saw a movie recently in 3D, and we were forced to sit like third or fourth row, and in a huge theater with a giant thing. And I noticed that the images were clearly skewed when you're that close and that low, because they had to like do the double effect for the 3D. And then on top of that, if you turned your head even slightly in one direction or tilted it a little bit, it suddenly lost its 3D and went all fuzzy.
Really?
Like, because the closer you are, like the weirder and like all the like the dual projection kind of stuff, it gets all kinds of wonky. So, but yeah, that's so funny. Is it projected behind the big screen, or is it projected like in the middle of all the riders?
I honestly don't know. Technically, I would assume that it's just like projected onto the screen, just like Back to the Future used to be and I want to say it originally was just literally projected onto the big IMAX type screen, but it could be from behind. I honestly don't know.
Because it's a really big screen.
It's massive. It's massive.
Someone in the chat, Wombat Walkabout, wants to know what we think about the Guardians of the Galaxy ride coming. Now, nothing's been confirmed for Disney World, but Disneyland.
Nothing will. I can tell you, nothing will be confirmed for Disney World. It will remain, as of right now, untouched, and will still remain the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
The word on the street is that Twilight Zone and Disney World is staying untouched, but Ellen's Electrical Adventure is going to be getting the oust. It's going to be ousted, is the word on the street, and and a Guardians ride is going to be dropped in there.
Oh, the thing of Guardians is going to go in there. That one I didn't hear, but
yeah, I've heard that quite a few times now. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think I'm okay, to be entirely honest with you. I'm really okay with Twilight going, the Tower of Terror going. And I think that the Disneyland one was kind of like it was a little bit of a nerfed version of the ride, because in the Disney World one, the carts moved, they went up in
and then it went forward, and that threw you all kinds of off.
It went forward and then turned sideways and then dropped you into another channel. The way that the ride was designed in Disney World was to push more people through the ride by giving the ride carts different places to be where they can be loading and unloading and stuff, so more people can move through. And the Disneyland ride isn't like that. It's just up and down, door opens. The narrative in the Disneyland one isn't as good. So
that's why I'm intrigued to see what they do with the Guardians version of it, in that the way that ride is already designed, it doesn't leave that shaft, really. It just that's what she said. And so I'm intrigued to see what they can squeeze out of that in order to make it really cool and Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess it's they've released what it's about. It's like Escape from the prison thing?
Yeah, you're in the prison. You're in the prison pod thing that takes off in the prison and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. I would have to say that they're going to have to tweak it in some way, shape, or form to be more than just an up and down kind of. One of those. Or they have to really
amp up the pre-show before you even get into the.
Yeah. They've got to really step that up because the Twilight had that pre-show element like Haunted Mansion, so it'll be interesting to see. What kind of goes on with it and where it ends up. But and then of course I think Hong Kong is getting the Iron Man ride that's just been announced. So.
That one's gonna be cool. So one of them, I think it's Tokyo Disney that's getting the Iron Man.
Yeah. Oh, is it Tokyo? Yeah. So Marvel's slowly creeping their way in, so it'll be exciting to see.
For sure. And down here they are fervently whacking away at studios, paving the way for Star Wars.
Oh yeah. Is it visible to the guests, the certain areas that they're paving and smashing around, or?
Yeah, you can see it when you're driving in.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. But they kind of block it off. I mean, you'll still be able. It's kind of you can still see. It's all blocked off where the Muppets are now, where the Muppet Theater is. It's basically right there. It's all walled off, and you can see, of course, see up and see all the buildings, and they're going to start slowly be coming down.
Oh, so have they started putting anything up, or is it still just tearing down?
No, it's still just tearing things down. The monstrous bleachers for the lights. Camera action thing, the car stunt show, is a slow process because they built that beast. They built that thing for tough, man. That thing was not. They expected to leave that thing up forever, so they're taking a while to knock that bad boy down.
I wonder if anything's going to be repurposed or whatnot, because I know that the studio tour thing is completely gone. They just
and that's why I want to know what happens to what's all the vehicles and stuff like that. Because remember they had the Flight of the Navigator spaceship was hiding back in there.
Yeah, who knows
where were they going to put those, or if they're just going to
fill it in to dig a hole and just throw it all in there as filler, I guess, or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean they could use that. They could use the Flight of the Navigator spaceship as some sort of little hidden Easter egg in Star Wars land as some weird spaceship or something. They could.
Oh yeah, do some deep cuts because they did that at
with Harry Potter World. They do little Jaws references, so maybe they.
They did that. They took the old shark and then turned it into some weird prop that's in the queue for Earthquake now or something like that. So Who knows? Maybe something. Maybe we'll see some deep cut like little hidden references and stuff like that. So
That'll be awesome. I love that kind of stuff. That stuff gets me more excited sometimes than like the big, overt, obvious things, like the little hidden deep cuts.
yeah,
I know. Same thing goes for you. I know you get super excited about those little things like that.
Yeah, I love all the little hidden details around the park, and then like of course the subsequent years that it takes people to find them all because they just lay it on thick in there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there you go. So there's our mini Disney chat about some rides, about Frozen, Soarin', and then we ended up starting talking about.
They added more smells in Soarin' too, I will say.
Oh,
so it's not
what
just
other smells are there?
Like when you're going through like the grasslands, you can smell grass. When you're going through, I think
really?
you fly over. I want to say like Hawaii or something, and you kind of smell like suntan lotion, that kind of stuff. Unless I was just projecting and I was just like, give me more smells.
It just
give
happened.
Them to me. But it could be.
So
or I was
people's
feet in front of me were just like emanating different.
That you had a stroke when you were on the ride and you started smelling toast and
burnt feathers and popcorn.
That's too much. Oh man, that's so funny. All right, folks. Well, there you go. We won't take up too much more of your time, but as always, thanks for watching. Check back. Visit our podcast, Getting Felt Up, a puppetry podcast with Dan and Nate, available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, all that.
And we're
gonna
be live. We're gonna be live Wednesday night. This coming Wednesday night with a few fellow interneters or like Honest Trailers and all the stuff. The VO guy, the John Bailey, the epic voice guy, who does all the narration for the Honest Trailers and Honest Game Trailers and How It Should Have Ended and all those kind of stuff. He's actually the new voice of Optimus Prime now. He's the new he's the official Optimus Prime, which is legit.
I didn't know that.
And he does an amazing Peter Cullen, and so he does Optimus Prime now in the new show that's going on. So we're gonna have him on and talk a little voiceover stuff and
that's super cool.
What other puppet stuff that any puppet stuff that he might be into. So be sure to tune in for that Wednesday evening.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, folks.